Yo, what's good, Spirit Squad? Today we're going to be checking out a bit of vintage, and this is because I happened to see a video from Justin Ganari, aka I am actually level 1, and I'll post a link to his YouTube right in the video description because that's where I got the inspiration for this video. We're going to be checking out some merfolk in vintage, and this is one of the sweetest lists I've seen in a pretty long time. So here, I've organized things into 3 piles of just like cards you can normally play, right? Here's going to be your normal vintagey type stuff, and that's going to be where your cards like Black Lotus, Force of Will, and all your various Moxen live. This list also wants to play a Mana Crypt for a reason we'll get into in a second here. We've got a giant pile of merfolk here, 23 creatures, but we're not going to be trying with Aether Vial because we have all the Moxen and stuff. So your creatures are going to be pretty easy to play since you'll always just have extra mana. Well, maybe not always, but often enough. And to that end, we're going to be playing some cards that are nothing like Modern, Pioneer, Explorer, or even Legacy lists. Here, we're not going to be trying to play anything like Lord of Atlantis or Master of the Pearl Trident. Instead, we're going to be leaning on all the natural hate cards that Merfolk already presents itself with. So here, we're going to be playing 4 copies of Hull Breacher, and this is going to be one of the most important cards in all of Vintage. It already sees play in a bunch of different decks anyway. And what it does is, if an opponent would draw on a card that's not the first card of their draw step each turn, then you instead get a treasure. So if they brainstorm, for example, they don't draw any, you get 3 treasures, and they still have to put 2 cards back. This card is an absolute beating. You get cards like True Name Nemesis, which is a pretty much untouchable merfolk. It's super sick. I'm going to be playing 1 copy of Svelune of Sea and Sky, and that's because, unlike Legacy, Vintage is not a format that Karakas actually sees play in. So it's pretty easy to put a Svelune on a table and potentially rely on her to untap. But I don't know that I want more than 1 Svelune, so 1 is going to be the starting point here. We've got 4 copies of Tideshaper, and this card, you thought this card was good in Modern and Legacy, this card is hella busted in Vintage. Here, there's a lot of really key lands that we just don't want our opponents to have parts of. Tolarian Academy, Bazaar of Baghdad, both legal in Vintage. Urza Saga, also pretty big deal, but that's no different from Legacy and Modern. Anyway, Tideshaper, absolute baller. The highlight here is going to be 4 copies of Vodalian Hexcatcher, and this card, of course, lets us sacrifice a merfolk to force spike a non-creature spell, and again, if you think the spells in Legacy are busted, whew, let me tell you about a little Ancestral Recall. Yeah, Vodalian Hexcatcher getting rid of key spells is going to be super huge game. And speaking of super huge game, a merfolk that I've been trying on and off in my spirits lists in Modern has been Thieving Skydiver, and we're going to be playing a full 4 copies of that because artifacts are pretty much omnipresent in Vintage. What this does is, you pay a kicker, but the kicker can't be 0. Anyway, when it enters the battlefield, if you paid the kicker cost, you get to steal an artifact with X or less cost. So that's going to be especially important because all of the Moxen are 0 drops, and almost every Vintage deck plays them. So you're just going to get to take your opponent's mana a lot more often than not. In this format, you also have a bunch of other relevant stuff. Soul Rings, Mana Crypts, Urza Saga Construct tokens, although that one's no different from any other format. Thieving Skydiver has a lot of jobs in Vintage, so we're going to be playing a full 4. And then of course 4 copies of Silvergill Adept. Along with Svelune, we just like to keep the card flow going, right? All of that's going to be complemented by Force of Negation. We already mentioned Force of Will. This is a format that allows Mental Misstep, so we're going to be playing the one that we are allowed to play. Playing an Ancestral Recall, a couple of copies of Flusterstorm. Let's go ahead and say that 5 times fast, right? And then we can finally move to the land base. Pretty simple. Pile of islands, pile of wastelands. Strip Mine is legal here for some godforsaken reason. Just kidding, we know my Strip Mine is legal. And then, of course, 4 copies of Cavern of Souls. Everything in here is going to be a merfolk, including the Thieving Skydiver, including the Hull Breacher. So all of the cards that you naturally want to play to hate on your opponent's stuff are already going to be countered. Just kidding. Not countered, because Cavern of Souls. Card's great. I love it. And any excuse I have to play it, I will. Now let's move on to the sideboard. Sideboard's going to have 1 copy of Mystical Dispute, which is not in the list that Justin ended up playing. Actually, a few things weren't. Not playing Svelune, for example. He was playing a Soul Ring, and I'm playing a 3rd copy of Flusterstorm here, a Mystical Dispute. So the reason I want to play this is for a few things. So Of course, a lot of the format is just blue anyway, right? Like, that's just gonna be a thing. But not everything that's blue is an instant or sorcery. So I wanted to play just a little bit around cards like Oko, Narset, and other powerful hull breachers, say from your opponent's end of things. And Mystical Dispute is going to be a cool little one-of to allow for that kind of play. We also get to juke. We have a copy of Tinker and a Sphinx of the Steelwind. And Sphinx of the Steelwind is one of the premier threats in Vintage, believe it or not. The protection from red and green is super huge. Pyroblast is already going to be a pretty big deal because our deck is mono blue. But also, most of the powerful cards in Vintage are blue, so everybody and their mom's going to be playing Pyroblast anyway. Protection from red means that a resolved Tinker gives you almost complete immunity to Pyroblast because your Sphinx to the Steelwind has pro red. And then for the pro green part of things, cards like Force of Vigor are super huge in this format, and we just really don't want to deal with that. Luckily for Sphinx of the Steelwind, it's also pro green, so you don't have to deal with that. We're playing 2 copies of Hercule Recall and 3 copies of Energy Flux. And these are going to be primarily for things like Mishra's Workshop decks, but they also have a lot of jobs against decks that play cards like Paradoxical Outcome. Here we've got 2 copies of Tabernacle at Pendrell Vale. The original list was playing 3. I wanted to take it down to 2 in favor of the Dispute for 2 reasons. First and foremost, we're a creature deck, so you don't want to accidentally body yourself sometimes, which can happen. But the other 2 were still really good. Like, you want to play these against like Mishra's Workshop decks when you have them in complements to Energy Flux, or in conjunction with, not complements. They play nicely together. They're really good against Bazaar of Baghdad decks, since most of those decks don't play lands other than Bazaar, and Bazaar can't tap for mana. So basically, Tabernacle against those decks just reads, every turn, sacrifice every creature you have. It's pretty nice. And then, of course, 4 copies of Surgical Extraction, because the Dredge decks in this format are unreal powerful. Like, until you've seen a Bazaar of Baghdad played, you do not have an understanding of how fucked up that card is. Like, it's really busted. To the point where it is a legitimate strategy to mulligan all the way down to 1 card if that 1 card is a Bazaar of Baghdad. That is a real strategy that has won Vintage tournaments. We will probably run into at least 1 Bazaar of Baghdad deck in the 5 matches that we played today. So just keep an eye out for that, because I'm sure it's going to happen at least once. Anyway, that's going to be the deck. We're playing Merfolk. I'm really, really excited. Let's solve today's Moxel, and I'll see y'all in round 1. All right. Welcome to today's Moxel. Once again, we are going to start with Aegis. So let's put that in. Okay, so we've got an A somewhere and a letter E here. A, G, I, S are not part of this. So what does this mean for us? This means that either we're looking at EA something, E something consonant, or something that even ends in A. So let's see. Let's try Leafy. Okay, so we know that EA Sports, it's in the game. And we got 3 more letters to find. Oh, I have not tried Death yet. Let's try Death. Oh, so we actually found 2 letters. That's pretty good. And we know that the H is most likely in front. So let's try Heart, as in Heart of Kirin. And we get it. Sweet. Look at us go. All right, round 1 is here. We are very much keeping this hand. I've got a basic island, which is fantastic because it makes us immune to Wasteland on turn 1. We've got an Ancestral Recall. Mox Sapphire can resolve, and they're not going to do anything else with that. So let's go ahead here, untap, and they are going to Ancestral now. I actually will fight over this, so I'm going to cast Force of Will, pitching the True Name Nemesis. Okay, so looks like they're going to Flusterstorm this. Oh no. Okay, so remember what we said about Pyroblast being a pretty big part of the format. I meant that. So here we can do a couple of things. First, I think I actually just want to try wastelanding this, because we are already relatively down on resources with no Moxen and them having resolved their Ancestral. So we'll see if that ends up being good enough to kind of stifle off for the rest of a turn here. And since they know what's going on in my hand, we're just going to yield through the rest of this turn. Ancestral Recall is a powerful magic card. Okay, so here we're going to do the same thing. During their turn, to play around Force Negation a little bit, we're going to, in their upkeep, cast Ancestral Recall targeting ourselves, and it's going to catch a Fluster. Alright, sucks to be us. Time Walk. Okay, so they're going to go ahead and take another turn, and that is the usual application of Time Walk in this format. It's usually just like an Explore. And then here's a Narset, so now my Silvergale Adept doesn't do anything? Man, how do we get out of this one, y'all? Into Renin 6. We might not be long for this one, y'all. And a basic island, I'm off it. Alright, so let's just go ahead into the next game here. So we're going to be playing against a bit of mid-range. So we want the Mystical Dispute, the other Flusterstorm, and I don't want the Tinker Sphinx package here. Actually, is that true? No, I think I do. And what cards do I want least? I think the cards I want least are going to be... No, I'm going to take this package back out. I don't really want those. Alright, so now let's go ahead and be on the play. Our hand gives us a... This is okay. I have a turn 1 Silvergale Adept into a Wasteland. Yeah, I think that's good enough on the play. Okay, let's play the land first. Now we play a Mox, and I will play a Silvergale Adept revealing True Name. And we also have a second blue source to cast True Name with, so that's pretty sweet. So here, I guess I'm a little sad if they immediately Renin 6 me. That sucks. Oh, that sucks more. Shit. Shit. Yep. How am I beating a Grizzlebrand? I think the legitimate answer is that I don't. Oof. Alright. Well, we're still going to name Merfolk here, and I think my play is just going to be to steal the Mox Ruby and kind of hope for the best here. Yikes. Yeah, this is going to be a little rough, not going to lie. Oh, that's actually not that bad. Protection from lands. Okay, never mind. We're back to being really annoying. Did they know I had that? Oh well. Doesn't really matter whether they knew, it's there. You and creatures you control. Okay, so that means that this is immune to... Yeah, this is immune to Otawara, but the lands are not immune to Wasteland, and they can still take damage from things like my True Name Nemesis too, so it's not great, but it's also not nothing. So I'm gonna kill this first. I have 1, 2, 3 red sources, which means I want to play this as a land. Oh no, I already played my Never mind. That doesn't work. Alright, let's slide steps, see if they want to Ancestral. If they do, no they don't. Okay. You fly, right? Yeah, you fly. So we'll do this. We will name them. And let's... Do we have another creature to get? We have another Emissary, so now they're going to get to name creatures too? Yeah, alright. This game's over. Let's move on to the next one. Alright, welcome to round 2. Ooh, we get to be on the play this time. That's exciting. Recall, Force, and Negation. Yeah, that's... The one lander is not preferable, but having Ancestral with Force backup is pretty sweet, not gonna lie. So I will target myself with this. Hell yeah. Alright, Mox Jet can resolve a Deathrite Shaman, okay. Oh, just stone 0 lands, that's what we're doing today. Okay, so let's untap, and I want to play Cavern Naming Merfolk, and I'm going to just play a Silvergill revealing a Silvergill, and this pays off if I draw a Mox. We don't, okay, but honestly I still don't really hate where this goes, so I'm gonna have to discard, and Tideshaper is probably the least consequential card here. If they draw a land, then I'm gonna want to wasteland it more than likely anyway, but it looks like it's just another Deathrite. You got it. So what is an ideal draw? Not that. Oh, yes that. Yes that. Very much that. I will pretty happily take your Mox Jet from you. Don't mind if I do. And I will attack into these Deathrites, so if they want to trade, I'm honestly pretty okay with that. Okay, so now they untap, but they have no mana sources, and I have a Wasteland queued up, so that's pretty sweet. I will also relish a chance to resolve a Hull Breacher if they try to do something like Ancestral in my upkeep, for example. Looks like that's not going to happen. I am still going to Wasteland them now, so let's see if they want to use that blue mana. Black. Is this Fatal Push, or are they chewing up a creature? Let's just move to combat, see if they want to eat up my Ancestral. They are going to eat my Ancestral. That is completely fine by me. So let's go ahead and get to attacking. No blocks. Okay. I actually don't know that I want to cast or show them Hull Breacher. So I'm actually just going to chill here, let Force, Hull Breacher, and Flusterstorm kind of take care of me for this turn. Using my land. Okay. So let's see what they want to do with that. Is this a third death right? No, they're gaining 2 life. You got it. That is completely fine by me. All right. So now I'm going to use this as an opportunity to just get this Hull Breacher resolved. Oh, did I not tap for blue? I didn't. Okay. So let's go ahead and attack for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm not going to flash into Hexcatcher now, but I will do this. I'm going to show them the other Hull Breacher because they're already playing around this one, so the second one's not really of any consequence, and I don't care if they counter this. But I do want to give myself access to Hexcatcher as a surprise, and not bad. Don't really need a Skydiver though, so if I need to use my Force this turn, I'll pretty happily pitch the Skydiver. What is Tropical gonna do? Eating my underground. You got it. Assassin's Trophy. I guess I'll force that. Pitching the Skydiver that we already talked about. Truth be told, I wouldn't mind getting an island for this, but I do mind quite a bit if my clock is disrupted. So they're gonna force, and I'm gonna Flusterstorm, and they're off it. So now we go game 2. We are up a game, and against the bug deck, their removal sources are basically Force of Vigor, and Sphinx of the Steel Wind's going to look pretty good there. They do play Oko and Narset, so I want the Dispute, and I do want a Flusterstorm. Cards that I don't want are pretty much all named Force of Will, I think. Excuse me. Yeah. Oh, you know what? I actually want Force of Will more than Force of Negation against Ancestral. Do I really want Time Walk against this deck? There's not too many scenarios where I find myself racing, I think. No. The mana's going to be really worth it, making extra Wastelands and Strip Mine related land drops. Like, even one of those type of turns can totally turn a game around, so I think I do want the Time Walk. Our hand is pretty weak, not gonna lie, so we're gonna mulligan it. And yeah, alright. Put back the Tide Shaper, and this is a ridiculously medium hand. Whoa, they have a basic Forest in their deck. Not gonna lie and say I saw that coming. Okay, so they play a Mox and it's a Sapphire. So if I actually get to steal it with Skydiver, I'll be pretty happy about that. But this is being a 3-drop. Oh, okay. Yeah, I was gonna say, but that being a 3-drop was potentially pretty scary. I'm just being attacked again. Noted. Nice. Alright. So this to me basically screams a handful of counter magic, right? So I guess I'm gonna go ahead and use Time Walk as like a test spell, especially since I've got Cavernous Souls for next turn. So if this resolves and I get to just like use my Cavern, right, then I'll be pretty happy to have access to Sylvain / Hull Breacher. And honestly, I'm not even that sad about this. Like, the Time Walk really was more of a bait spell to see if I can resolve something else than anything else. So the fact that it didn't resolve doesn't even really make me sad. Collector, oof, I don't really care about that. It does stop me from stealing their Mox and making use of it, but like, meh. That was really more for the purpose of cutting them off than advancing my board state anyway. So what do I want to do here? Oh, that's a very good draw, actually. So let's Merfolk. I'm just going to resolve my Spaloon. Alright, so now we've got our big card drawing related beat stick going. We'll see if we can actually get to untap with her. My Time Walk has officially been eaten. You got it, opponent. Assassin's Trophy. Alright, so I will grab an island here. And honestly, I'm like medium sad at worst about that. Since they advanced my mana, now I can hold up Hull Breacher and Wasteland their underground. So like, that's a pretty good start to things. Okay. Let's do that. So they will have 2 uses of Deathrite Shaman, so they still technically have 2 mana available here. But let's see if I can't do this. So I'm going to take the Mox Sapphire, and if we get frisky in combat, then I'll be able to use that Sapphire later on too, giving me a potential turn with Hull Breacher and Flusterstorm at the same time. Oh, did it untap? Oh no, it just wasn't tapped in the first place because they couldn't use it, I guess. Okay. A Deathrite Shaman. I actually think I should misstep this. I will feel a little stupid if they use this one to Ancestral now, but I think other than that, we're okay. Oh, that's actually fine. If they attack with the oof, I will definitely block. Okay. They don't. Choices. So I can get cheeky. No, I'm just going to resolve my Tide Shaper. So I'm going to turn this into a forest. I'm sorry, into an island. Maybe that's a mistake, but they already have 2 Deathrite Shamans, so it's not like I can ever cut them off of blue currently anyway. Okay. And then Tide Shaper being a 2/2 is especially relevant here. So let's see what they want to do with this. Okay, so Vampiric. No, I think I'm good on that, opponent. So yeah, let's not. So if they happen to top deck something scary like the Ancestral, then, like, you know, it is what it is. But if I get to untap here, then I'm feeling pretty okay about things. If they attack, I will block once again. And a Cavern of Souls. That's a pretty good draw. So hopefully they do block something with this Tide Shaper, because I really don't care about this being an island or not. But I do care about it being a 2/2, because now it can, like, profitably make one of these chump block. It can trade evenly with this. And if they double block with Deathrite Shamans, I'll be pretty happy to get one of them off the table. And it looks like they're going to do none of the above. So I'm just going to go ahead and name Merfolk with this one too, and then just pass the turn. Eating my Underground Sea to do what? Green. Are we Snapback? Oh, Snapback Vampiric. Okay, fine. You can cast your Vampiric. Oh, did they just not? Oh, they didn't even bother. That's because there wasn't a land. Okay. See, I just, like, automatically assumed there's lands in the graveyard still. I catch myself doing that all the time. If they attack all, I will happily block with a Hull Breacher. So I can do this. Deathrite Shaman can catch a block here. I'll take 5 and go to 6. Yeah, I'm in for that. What is this? A Dismember. Okay, that's kind of cool. So what do I take? 6 and go to 5? Yeah, you got me. Well, didn't really want that, but I will resolve this while the getting's good. What happens here? 2 attackers, 4 damage. Oh no, they literally can't do that. Never mind. Am I safe if I attack with 2? With no lands in the graveyard, I think I actually just want to do this. Alright, so are we getting frisky in the red zone again? Or are we just attacking with just Snapcaster? What's happening here? Not gonna lie, this member caught me by surprise. Oh, we are getting frisky with the Collector Oof. Okay. I will block the Oof with the Skydiver and take this and go to 3? Yeah. So this backfires pretty hard if they are holding a black source in hand, but it looks like that's not the case. Yeah. I'm in for that. So what do I want to do here? I think I only attack with Tide Shaper, because once again, I will pretty happily just trade for one of these, and they can work on using the other or not. And paying full retail for one of these is a little embarrassing, but oh well. Alright, so we got one of those off the table. Oh, that'll be great. So now our only real mission, I guess, is to get this off the table so that combat can just straight up be in our favor. They will go to 8, that's fine. Again, as long as they're not holding a black source, I'm okay with this. Wasteland to kill my Cavern of Souls makes a black source, but it's a black source for itself, so they gotta have another black source if they really want to do the thing. If they attack with Snapback, I will very happily block with Silvergill Adept. So once again, I am asking you to not have a black source. That's okay. That's less okay, but I can't do anything about it. So let's go ahead and grab another island out of our deck. Now, if I can draw something like, say, Ancestral so that I can use all of this mana, that'd be great. Ooh, I have mana for all of this? Man, it's like Christmas. So let's grab our Sphinx. Uncounterable True Name. I choose you. Yeah, good luck, opponent. And they do finally resolve their Ancestral now that our Hull Breachers are off the table. Okay. So yeah, let's just go ahead and get our attack in. And we are presenting lethal, so let's see if we get away with it. I legitimately have no idea what they even could have. I guess a Dismember for this? Oh, that actually is what's happening. Okay. This thing has First Strike? Huh. Oh, I don't have a Merfolk. They don't need to see that. So now that I'm at 4, I feel a little bit safer about dealing with this, right? But they still have a lot of work to do. Like, this can't be dealt with, this can't be dealt with for the most part. And that's the story. Let's go to the next round. Alright, in round 3, we got the die roll, and we are also playing with a vintage power level hand. Hell yeah. So, ideally, I draw something like a Force, a Mental Misstep, something defensive to go along with the turn 1 Silvergill up here. But honestly, not really complaining. I will, however, take the free chance to complain if it turns out that, like, I play Silvergill Adept, I draw something like another land, and then my opponent's on, like, Workshops, then I will complain. So, I don't know, fair warning. But even still, a Tide Shaper to turn off a land seems sweet. Okay, so we're gonna Cavern of Souls, name the Merfolk, then play Mox. So let's see if they want to do something about our Sapphire here. Okay, they choose to do nothing about that. So we're just gonna go ahead and show them the second Silvergill Adept. Don't really need to go around giving out free information. Ooh! Remember that time we asked for something defensive? Thank you, deck. I love you too. Wasteland on my Cavern is actually fine. Oh, no. Mana Vault. Yeah, that's fine. So this means that we are in fact most likely playing against shops. Mana Crypt as well. So they have 3, 4, 5 mana to play with here. And that's probably a Golos? It is a Golos. So we're gonna do this. We're going to do this, and we're going to pitch Tide Shaper? No, I'm going to pitch a Silvergill Adept. So what I want to do here is use my next turn to Skydiver the Mana Crypt. Ooh, that's good for next turn too. And I'm not going to touch the Mana Vault because they got to work to untap it and it's going to do them damage. And I don't really mind losing the coin flips to Mana Crypt because I'm going to be the one developing things like Tide Shapers and True Names. So my opponent's probably going to have a pretty difficult time dealing with this. Or at least that's what I hope. And if they have a workshop into some super stupid threat, then at least I can Tide Shaper the workshop down. Oh my god, that's so good for us. That is a lot better than I asked for, y'all. That is a lot better than I asked for. Pithing Needle, probably naming my Mana Crypt, whatever, you got it. It could also name Wasteland, I guess. They did in fact name Wasteland, that's fine. Let's name Tails Never Fails. Ah, fucker, you failed me. I literally just said Tails Never Fails, and the first thing it does is fail. Thanks, deck. Anyway, here's some damage. So now I get to do this, turn off the Urza Saga, and then play True Name, I choose you. And they are off it. Hell yeah. Let's go to the game 2. I want Energy Fluxes. I want Hercules Recalls. I want nothing else here. Maybe Tabernacle? Let's see how many cards I want to take out before deciding whether I want Tabernacle. So I do not want Flusterstorms. Hull Breacher doesn't really have text here. Yeah. I legitimately don't know if I'm supposed to side in Tabernacle against the Golos versions of this deck. Something tells me I'm not supposed to. I'm going to put in Tinker Sphinx. Like, that's still a better package than dealing with Hull Breachers, which have basically 0 text in this matchup. And just like a 6/6 Lifelinker is pretty good against the aggressive part of this deck. So what do I got? I do want an actual blue source for Tinker itself, but honestly, I can get behind this. Alright. Oh, hell yeah. So now I get a turn 1 Tide Shaper on that? That's probably naming Wasteland. I don't care about that. It is? Okay. That's fine. So, ooh. Alright. So I get to do this. I get to name Merfolk again. And I get to do this all over again. One sad opponent coming right up. So now if I draw an actual blue source, I can choose between Tinker and Wasteland. And if I don't, I can likely Skydive or something. Alright, I'm in for that. And then even like worst case scenario, I can still Hexcatcher, which is not bad. Ancient Tomb, you got it. Phyrexian Revoker, probably naming this Emerald. That's fine. That is what happens. Okay, I'm in for that. So give me a real blue source. Yeah, I think I'm in for that. So let's Cavern, name Merfolk again. I will offer trade. Do not offer trade. I will not offer the trade. So what happens here is if they play some kind of spell that I really want to counterspell, I've got Vodalian Hexcatcher and I don't care about Tide Shaper anymore now that Urza Saga's gone. So I don't mind sacrificing it as a force spike. So here, if they want to, like, I don't know, cast some Thorn or Amethyst or something like that, then I don't mind getting rid of the Tide Shaper for that purpose. And then I'm still looking for like an actual island or Otawara or even Max Sapphire so that I can tinker out this emerald that I already can't use. Or even better. That is no longer in the realm of things I can counter. Oh, my Lanta. Help. Send help. Well, that sucks. Alright. So now they're going to get Workshop. Yikes. Or even the Cascading land. What is it? Cascading Cataracts? Is that the 5-color land that turns disability on? I feel like I have the title right. My Kingdom for an Island. They got a Saga. Okay, that's fine. Well, I don't know about fine, but it's going to happen. Nettlecyst. Well, that files under spells I do not mind countering with Tide Shaper. You know, using a Force Spike when your opponent has like 45 mana feels good, man. Alright, so I'm going to take the 2 from this Revoker. I'm clearly not going to... Actually, that's not clear. No, I actually will trade. Because I do want to free this. Strip Mine. What do I want to do with that? So, I can Strip Mine the Saga. I can also Strip Mine... No, the Saga's got to be right. Let's think about that. Because I can't Wasteland, so that sucks. Because I would definitely have just like Wastelanded this and then worried about this later. Yeah, let's not play around. Saga is scary. Is there any reason to Skydiver now? Yes, I literally have a Tinker on the table. What am I talking about? There. Now if I draw an actual blue source, I can tinker away their Pithing Needle, unlock my Wasteland, and get the Sphinx all in one go. Yeah, that's way better. There's the Workshop, so I'm definitely taking this. You got it. What's this? Another Golos. Okay, so what are we getting with this? Probably another Saga? It is another Saga. Okay. Sapphire? Brew name. That is not great, but it's not terrible either. So, of course, having something that just beats Golos in pure combat is super sick. I choose you. And even though I can't use the Wasteland, I still want to play it. This way, if I draw like an actual blue source, I'll still be pretty happy to get rid of Saga. Sapphire! Yes, sir! Thank you! So, now we gotta mess with our opponent, right? They just said Nutter Merfolk draws, so we gotta tell them. Things are going swimmingly. Alright, so now what I want to do is tap these, but tinker away the needle, get my Sphinx out on a table, and then Wasteland the Saga. And they're off it. Cool. So, oh, opponent did in fact laugh at our joke too. So let's move on to the next round. Alright, we in round 4. Our hand is on the draw. I got some doubts about this one, but I think I'm going to try it. So the idea here is that I can potentially get away with this lovely here Ancestral and at least try to make some use of that to get myself a piece of power or something nice. Or if I happen to draw a Lotus against something that goes Island Ponder, Mox Opal, which means are we playing against PO? Oh, and there's a Pearl. Okay. So here I will definitely just try to give myself 3 cards in my upkeep, or rather their upkeep, not my upkeep. The whole point is to do it during their turn. Okay, they have the Force. And away goes a Snapcaster. Good to know. So here I can untap and have Hull Breacher. I can steal their Mox Opal if they start to go a little wild on mana. I can also steal, I can also steal a more productive Mox if they play one. I am a little sad about them getting to Brainstorm before I can untap with Hull Breacher, but it is what it is. And there's a Sapphire. That's gotta be the ideal Mox too, right? A top. Can't take that. Alright. Island is actually not what I wanted here, but I suppose I'll... Actually, you know what I should do? I think I should actually just resolve my Hull Breacher now. I'm going to do that. I'm just going to resolve this now. I'm not even going to play around. And I'm going to do all of that before they have the mana to PO or do something really about this. And that's fine. So if they're going to do this and then play Flip Cup with the top beforehand, I'm okay with that. Again, a little sad that they got to do this first, but it is what it is. Nice. We take those. Alright, so things I want. I want Flusterstorms. I want Energy Fluxes. I do not want Recalls. I want Dispute as well. Cards that I don't really want against them. Let's see. Tideshaper doesn't really matter except as a 1-drop. And does True Name actually have that much text here? I think the answer is actually no. I could also get rid of some of these off-color Moxen. Actually, you know what? That might be better. Because I do still want threat density so that they can just get dead. So I'm going to take out the off-color Moxen. And because I took out Moxen, I think Time Walk's a little worse here. There's no way that's right. Yeah, alright, that's what I'm doing. So my thought process here is that if I'm putting in a bunch of Moxen, then I already don't want to necessarily play those right into things like, oh, whatever the card title I'm trying to think of is, Energy Flux. But also... this is fine. I've got double Force. I've got a Tideshaper to turn off any copies of Urza Saga if they're playing that. And then a Hexcatcher's pretty good too, so yeah, alright, I'm on board. Sapphire's fine. A Recall now. I'm gonna pitch Tideshaper? No, I'm gonna pitch Hexcatcher. Another Mox, okay. And an Opal. You got it. Lots of mana. And a land. Okay. Good stuff from our opponent. What the hell are you casting? Oh, it's a fairy. Well, this sucks because it leaves me empty-handed, but I also don't really know that I can beat that. So we're gonna basically cross our... Oh my god. Y'all, if this Mystical Dispute hits a PO, do they scoop? If they just, like, jam PO down my throat, top. Okay. Boo. I was hoping. I'm still gonna play for that line, but... Ooh, boy. Ooh, you know what I really want right now? An Ancestral sounds great, especially since theirs is exiled. Tideshaper? If I'm being completely honest, I don't actually care about Tideshaper here, but I think... And I don't need to play it with Kicker, they already have an island, it's a 2-2, turning them off of white doesn't do anything, they already have a Mox Opal. So I can just leave it as a 2-2, and still give myself access to this Mystical Dispute. Manifold Key, okay. Do not have Time Vault here, don't you do it. Okay, these are allowed. And then you can... Ooh, an Emerald too, okay. There's the top again. Yep, lots of spinning of the top. Now here, an energy flux would be so absurdly excellent. So deck, if you're listening to me, please give me that. Okay. I'm in for that. So I'm going to play my Otawara. Now I have Dispute and Flusterstorm available. Can you make my guy unblockable sometime, please and thank you? Yep, playing Flip Cup. That's okay. Are we just casting a PO now? What are we doing? We are casting a PO now. Well, one sad opponent coming right up. Hello, Mystical Dispute. Hell yeah. Ooh, and a Flusterstorm. Sick. So now, in theory, the next one, maybe even two, are kind of taken care of. In theory. In practice, might be a little bit different. Let's see. 1, 2, 3 mana still available, so I can't cut Brainstorm off, so I'm not going to try. A Hull Breacher would be super excellent into all of this nonsense. Well, that's going to be a little unfortunate when they see double Flusterstorm, so you can look. Might make you a little sad, but you can look. They do have another Tundra, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 mana currently. So, things that make me sad here. If they find it's a fairy with top and Flip Cup into the fairy, then not much I can do about that because we use the Mystical Dispute and not Flusterstorm. Same kind of goes for Narset, but she's a little less annoying. But it doesn't look like they found anything they want to Flip Cup into anyway, so I guess I'm okay with that. Nope, that's false. So they are going to get to Flip Cup here, draw a couple of cards. Oh, top, you're so good. Ooh. I think I actually want to take the Manifold Key. So since they've already seen my 2 copies of the Flusterstorms, I don't really know that I'm going to have a really crazy benefit from them. But taking this can cut them off of either finding Time Vault for infinites or off of like multiple top a turn shenanigans. Granted, they can still use top, and that's going to be obnoxious. But at least now they're using it in a more fair manner. And I don't mind pressing 6 here. They do know the contents of my hand, so I'm not going to worry too much about whether they know it. Time Walk, okay. Snapback Time Walk, yikes. Yikes. Although, I actually don't know that I agree with that. So what they could have done here is Snapback Time Walk, or rather, yeah, they could have Time Walked and then Snapback PO on the follow-up turn since they know the content of my hand. Yeah, I don't know if I like that choice. Unless they have another PO, in which case, it is what it is. Okay, so they Swords my friend, get an attack in, and now they have one more extra turn after this. A Hull Breacher of their own. Okay. So let's see. I take 5 here, go to 14. Is this their last extra turn? I don't remember. Ooh, a Force. That's actually kind of helpful. So I am currently winning the life total race, so let's act like it. I could hold back Tideshaper to block Hull Breacher, and then just kind of get beaten up for to a turn by the Snapcaster, but I don't really know that I like that option, right? So let's instead lean on our counter spells, which are pretty strong here, and kind of see what happens. If they play Flip Cup with the top again, I will be pretty happy to force the top, but then I gotta start drawing some more creatures too. Soul Ring I don't really care about, and Ask and Receive. Okay, cool. So here I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of chill on combat for a little bit. Okay, so in their main phase, they're going to go ahead and look at the cards with top here, and they could Swords my Hull Breacher, but if they don't, then I'm still fairly happy with, okay, I have Force, so I'm going to go ahead and play my Hull Breacher now, and if they want to PO, then I can Force. Oh, sick. Do y'all see what I see? They probably just trade Snapcaster for this, but I'm actually pretty okay with that. Oh, man. I love it when cards have secret modes that you actually want to use. You can have a Ruby. I don't really care about that. So here, if they want to start attacking, that's whatever. I'm already going to be setting myself up to win this lovely little race here since I got to start attacking first. A Force of Negation is actually pretty freaking great, not going to lie. Because I can hard cast the Force of Negation, and then Force of Will for free, and then Flusterstorm with the rest of the mana. So this is pretty good, and if they just hold back, then Manifold Key can make this unblockable for the last 3 bits of damage here. Secret moves. You know, I don't know why they're doing that in main phase knowing that I have a Hull Breacher. Like, there's no way it's not better to just do that into upkeep when you can actually draw the card you want to see, right? Mox Opal to replace the other Mox Opal, that's fine. Since I have 2 hard counters, I'm not Whoa, My Flusterstorms are useless. Understood, opponent. Understood. Oh my god. Opponent? What are we doing? You literally have a Hull Breacher. You already know how that works. Okay, shame concede. They're off it. Sick. Let's move on to round 5. Alright, last round of the league, we are on the play. And our hand is a triple Hexcatcher, misstep, force negation? I don't know. This is close. I'm gonna try it. This is a very what's the worst that could happen hand, and I don't know how smart it is to test that theory, but this is what we're doing. Okay, so we're just gonna do the time-honored Island Go. That's how the kids do it, right? We're doing shops again, okay. So hopefully that means that this actually has text, especially since I would really like to get rid of this misstep, and it does, hell yeah. Alright, Nettlecyst, the fuck out of my face. Now, let's not kid ourselves here. I would really love to draw like a Wasteland or even a Tide Shaper to get rid of this, but getting rid of a pretty relevant turn 1 threat is nice. Alright, sick. So, turn 1, mini crisis averted. Except that one's not actually like a full crisis, right? So, let's just play an island here. I want to play island instead of cavern here because I don't want them to be able to make use of a wasteland in case I draw a 3-drop I want to play, or a 1-drop I want to play. Either way. Caracas. Oh no, is this Golos? Oh, fucking hell. Alright, well, that sucks. Ruh-roh Raggy, and a found strip mine. Okay, so that's just kind of what it is, whatever. Can't really do too much about that. So let's untap here, draw a cavern, and we're not attacking into a 3-5. Mom taught me better than that. Mana Crypt, okay. Phyrexian Revoker. I assume this is naming Wasteland. I don't actually know though. Oh, haha, dang, I can no longer sacrifice this to counter spells when you have 45 mana. Crucible, uh-oh. Well, combo has been assembled. I can't do shit about that. Oh, you know what? I just realized this is gonna suck to be me for a little bit because they actually haven't even made a land drop yet. Yeah, so now they actually just get to get rid of 2 cards. So I do get to play this 3rd Hexcatcher next turn, but realistically, that might be close to it. So we'll see what ends up happening here, but I'm really gonna be hurting for some action soon. So I am gonna play the 3rd Hexcatcher here. And we're really just kind of finger crossing and hoping that, what's that? I don't care about that. That's, I don't know, Wasteland? A Mox of some sort? Lotus maybe? What are you naming? Lotus. Okay. So that makes sense to cut off as much of my mana as they are able to. You know, what else am I going to do with this? I could have held it for force, but like, we got some work to do. If I'm being completely honest, it's probably smarter to just keep it moving into game 2. But I do have like a ridiculously off chance of being able to, say, draw a couple of Moxen or a Moxen and a land running, maybe like another blue card, and then just kind of brute force it. So I will play for that. It's ugly, but you know, it is what it is. Okay, so I've got a 4/4 Tide Shaper and a bunch of Hexcatchers, which in theory is half decent, but realistically, my land's going away. I can use their Mana Crypt as part of a win condition, which is kind of nice. Goodbye, sweet island. Nice knowing you. Golos is going away. Golos is coming back. So one upside to the plan that they're doing right now, since I already have a Force of Will, if they do this again next turn, then I might actually win with no lands in. Oh, fuck, never mind. All right, game's over. There's a Tabernacle in the main, everybody. We're done. All right, so we want Fluxes. We want Recall. I do want Tinker plus Sphinx. I do not want Flusterstorms. I do not want Mental Misstep. I do not want Svelune against the deck that we saw Caracas against. Time Walk? Oh, Hull Breachers. Right, these have no text. So I took out the 4th Hull Breacher. Nah, that's still better than Svelune. We'll run it like this. Okay, so let's be on the play. And our hand has Energy Flux, Mana Crypt, a bunch of stuff. Okay, yeah, I'm here for this. So I can play Island Go. They can play something, and then I can both Energy Flux and Wasteland because of my Crypt and Sapphire. The only way this gets ultra punished is if they come at me with a, oh, what am I thinking? Okay, good. I was gonna say a Chalice at a Void. Chalice would have sucked. Oh god, is that a fucking Golos already? Oh, a Manifold Key. About as bad, if I'm being honest. Shit, man, I thought my hand was good. Understood, opponent. Got it. What the hell? So what we're getting out of this is, next time, just play the stupid artifacts. Jeez, you know, sometimes you just get got, I guess. Holy shit. So what do they have? 6 mana to play with, more with Manifold Key? Jeez, and a Saga now. Just kill me now, right? Unfortunately, that doesn't do anything yet. Why didn't I just play the Energy Flux on turn 1? Yeah, alright. We got maximum punished, and, there's no blame on anybody but myself here. This is something that was almost completely avoidable. So, if their draw is also a strip mine, then, like, another... Oh, the same workshop, okay. So at least all they're doing technically is making a construct, but, like, I do need multiple turns of Energy Flux being in play for this to actually, like, line up into something. If somehow that actually does happen, then we do stand a chance here, but not playing the Energy Flux turn 1 has pretty much ruined my game, and it's not like I can blame anybody but me. Whoops. Man, this is rough to look at if I'm being honest, though. Like, next time, I guess the takeaway here is just do the stupid vintage thing. And it's another island, which is unfortunately not helpful, but at least we can start trying to participate with Energy Flux here. But doing this on turn 1 is, or Jesus, not even turn 4. Doing this on turn 4 is so hilariously different from turn 1. But I guess in retrospect, I really just needed to do this on turn 1. But here they can make constructs, and Manifold Key will give Mana Vault the ability to... Oh, okay, they didn't even make a construct. Okay. Well, that's actively good for me. Because what they could have done is, end of turn, they could have made a construct with the Saga using Mana Vault, use Mana Key to untap Mana Vault, and then that way they still have mana unlocked for all of this stuff, except they would have also had an attacker. So my ideal draw next turn probably looks like either a Recall or a copy of... Another Energy Flux would be great, but a Hercule's Recall looks pretty good. A copy of Energy Flux to stack 2 of them looks pretty good. A Tide Shaper is actually not even bad. Just like killing off an Urza Saga if they revive it with Crucible is pretty decent. Let's see. I have 4 mana, so I can also pay 3 mana, play Mana Crypt, use the Mana Crypt to play the Tide Shaper. That's an option I have. What does that do for me, though? A Skydiver is really nice, though. I do want to be able to take either the Manifold Key or the Mana Vault. Like, stealing one of those seems ultra awesome. So now let's find out what they're looking for here. Soul Ring. That's actually okay. Oh, that doesn't do anything. So now I can Tide Shaper to make Workshop terrible, assuming I don't draw something I actually want here. Oh, I just realized Trinisphere is dead, so I can actually just cast all of my shit. Sick. A True Name is also pretty decent. So I can cast the Kicker here and make Workshop nice and trash. So upsides, downsides. Upside is that it can't be used for 3 artifact mana, but the downside to that play is that they can now use it to actually pay for these. So I'm going to do this, name them, and I'm not going to worry about casting the Hexcatcher there. I'm just going to like let this rock. Okay, so Mana Vault in play, but currently nothing else. Tabernacle is actually fine. So I'm going to tap. Yes. And the Sapphire I don't particularly care about right now. So let's go ahead and get an attack in. Oh, why didn't I just put this into play? I hope that doesn't matter. Oh well. Alright, so now they're stuck paying a bunch for their stuff too. And I can Hexcatcher and then use the Emerald to pay for one of the creatures and not worry too much about the Emerald itself. So the moral of the story here is that Energy Flux is absolutely busted, but I'm still a dummy. And I don't really need to be wasting a bunch of clock here, so I'm just going to yield to all of this cool stuff. Okay, so now they have 3 mana to play with for artifacts, and I can Hexcatcher end of turn and present an okay clock. I also really want to get rid of this. Okay, so we play Saga. They're not doing too much with that. So I'm going to go ahead and play my Hexcatcher, present a little bit of a extra clock here, see if that helps. And then I got to pay 3, which I can deal with that. So I'm going to stack you last. I very much want to keep my creatures alive. Yes. And pay 1 more. Pay for this. I'm good. Thank you for your service, Mox Emerald. And a Lotus. Okay. 1, 2, 3. So take 8, go to 7, and we're looking at a 1-turn clock now. So I am going to play my Lotus here, which really just means Lotus is going to be fodder for my creatures, but that's okay. Even with the constructs made by Urza Saga, True Name Nemesis by itself is a 2-turn clock, which is nice. Okay, So now if they don't have an actual land that is not a workshop, they can't make a construct currently? Oh, never mind. I lied. But they're still off of it. Hell yeah. Cool. So now we get to go to game 3, and I don't think I want to change anything about the way I boarded. I mean, in retrospect, I would definitely change a bunch about the way I played, but not the way I boarded. Do I want to... I'm going to risk the Sveloon. So, realistically, Karakas is only a 1-of in the deck. I also still have my Tide Shapers and Strip Mine and Wastelands. So, I think the upside of Sveloon is, now that I'm really thinking about it, I think it's worth more than the safety of Hellbreacher. However, this time, they're the ones who are on to play, so we have quite a bit to be scared of. Let's see. So, I've got Mana Crypt, Wasteland, this land, Force of Negation that I can pitch Sphinx to. Is Force of Negation plus Wasteland good enough here? Considering that I can follow up with Island, Mana Crypt, Silvergill, Reveal True Name, Draw, and then kind of skip out on the Sphinx plan, I think I'm going to try it. So hopefully this doesn't turn into one of those famous last words kind of deals, but also if I draw an Energy Flux, I'm just going to, play it. So we won't be making that mistake twice if it comes up. Mox Emerald, you got it. Urza Saga, noted. And nothing. Nothing is the follow-up. Sapphire, Sapphire. Dealer, I would like 1 Mox Sapphire. I will also accept Energy Flux. Oh, Wasteland. Okay. So I'll go ahead and just Wasteland a Saga. And realistically, I'll be happy enough about that. I am also going to just play the Mana Crypt this time. We will learn from last game. So that way, if they want to come at me with, like, I don't know, a Force, wow. A Chalice or a Trinisphere or something, then at least I've already played my Mana Crypt and I still have my extra mana for next turn. Phyrexian Revoker. Well, remember that time we had mana advantage from Mana Crypt? Psych, I lied. And Strip Mine, okay, noted. Oh, whoops. Oh, Christ, why did that resolve? Oh, damn it, I definitely wanted to counter that. Oh, hooray, we won to flip. Tails still never fails. Okay. Shit, that was actually really bad. I actually have to Wasteland first here, because I can't afford to have my only blue source blown up here. Oh, that felt really bad. Well, hopefully they just try to cast, like, fuck, it's a Golos, isn't it? God damn it. Oh, that felt so bad. And they have the Academy now. I fudge. At least Tails still never fails. So, God, I legitimately think it might be better to cast my Silvergill Adept. Yeah, I actually am going to do that. And then this next turn, I hope I can counter some kind of play with Force of Negation, because so far they've only played creatures. That counts. That is something I would force. Maybe it's not pretty, but okay. No attack there, noted. We won to flip again, which is nice. I will recall myself now before making a land drop. I want to see if I draw another island. I don't. And keep it real, I really just do not want to expose this cavern to a wasteland. That seems really bad. So instead, I think I will offer a trade, and then next turn, I can steal the Sapphire and hope that double force is good enough, along with True Name Nemesis. That might be a workable line. And since I'm losing the damage race, I actually don't think I should be attacking with Silvergill. So at least kind of stave off the Revoker here. And they don't use Academy to untap Mana Vault. Okay. Another Sphere of Resistance. Got it. So do I force pitching Force or do I force pitching True Name? I think I'm going to force pitching one of these True Names. Yeah. And I'm pitching a True Name since I'm not guaranteed to actually see another source to cast a second True Name anyway. Like, I have the Cavern, so I'm definitely going to get off the first one. But the second one, not so much guaranteed. So I'm okay with taking the 3 for now. Now let's see what we can come up with. Boo. Another Skydiver. Okay. Just gonna play the good card. I choose you. Good night, Cavern. We knew that was happening. So, I do really want to get this crypt the hell off the table. 3. Ensnaring Bridge? Well, gotta force that. Too many cards that are absolutely unbeatable for me right now. And a Wasteland. You got it. So now the hand is empty. They can't really... Yeah, I was gonna say, they can't really attack. Come on. So I guess I'm gonna steal the Sapphire. Yeah, it's tapped. Alright. Oh. Mana Crypt, you are not my friend right now. I thought we were homies. Time Vault, okay. Energy Flux, god damn it. Oh no! I am going to die. Oh god. I'm gonna die to the Mana Crypt. And, yeah, shit. Wait, what? Oh, they skipped a turn. Well, okay, we're dead anyway. So, unfortunate. You know what? That was really fun. So, we did go 3-2, which is a medium disappointing record, but honestly, for a first time playing this deck in Vintage, I'm fairly satisfied by it, right? Like, we got to do a lot of relatively cool things. There are some changes I would make to what we did here, but overall, I'm still pretty happy about what happened here. So, some takeaways, right? Like, we got to win against Shops once, we lost against Shops once, and we did win the game where we could have played Energy Flux on turn 1, but had to wait until turn 4 instead. But in game 3, we could potentially have mulliganed to either a Recall or an Energy Flux, and I think I might have hit the yield button in the turn where they got to resolve the Mana Vault, because that game is very different if they don't get to resolve that Golos. And I had the Force of Negation that I wanted to use on that, and I think I might have just, like, clicked a button through it or something. Either way, that was a game that we had the ability to win, and then we ended up losing to our own Mana Vault. And yeah, sure, there's some unluckiness involved in, like, losing, what, 4 coin flips in a row or something crazy, but that's whatever, it happens sometimes, and that's part of what you accept when you play a card like Mana Crypt. It's really powerful, but it's risky, so we know that when we go into it. As far as actually, like, making changes here, I think I would take out Svelun for one more True Name Nemesis. Like, that card is, like, just absolutely absurd, and I really just should be playing a third one. The card draw from Svelun is still really tempting. I do like the one of in here, but I think a True Name is better. And as far as the main deck, though, I like the rest of this. Like, the rest of this was really sick. Like, the Thieving Skydivers were absolutely amazing. Hexcatchers were more cool than good, but they were still relevant, and I like that. And Hull Breacher is, well, it's Hull Breacher. That card doesn't really need an explanation. It's absolutely fucking busted. So, like, I don't really need to give that one too much discussion. But the sideboard, I like the sideboard. The Mystical Dispute that I wanted to put in came up, and that was cool. The 3 Energy Flux, 2 Hercules Recall plan was pretty decent too. Tinker into Sphinx was actually pretty sweet. And the extra Flusterstorm mattered. Just, yeah, I would literally just swap out Svelun for one more True Name, and I am really happy with the way this deck plays. I legitimately might just, like, end up playing this in, like, a Vintage Challenge or something. Granted, I do live on the East Coast, and the Sunday Vintage Challenges start at 3 o'clock in the morning, so no promises on when/if I ever get to play one of those, because that's just not happening. Like, 3 in the morning is just not a thing in my life. But if I do, this is a deck I would be more than happy to pilot. And in the game against, or rather match against the Oath of Druids deck. So the first game, like, you know, we just kind of got bodied, right? Like, Ren and 6 is good. There were just too many threats to deal with, and we kept a hand that was medium powerful, but didn't match up at all against what they brought to us. So that's just what it was. And then Oath of Druids itself, like, how does a deck with 23 creatures beat a resolved Oath of Druids? Like, you know, it just is what it is. The other consideration I was thinking about here is that maybe Svelun plus exactly one other card could be 2 copies of a card like Brazen Borrower. So that's something I was giving a little bit of thought to, like, maybe that's worth playing, since, like, a flying threat is clearly really good. We know all about flying on this channel, right? But also, like, just petty thefting a lot of the really relevant threats in this format is a pretty big deal, right? Like, we saw things like Golos multiple times this league. You know, bouncing Oath of Druids itself would have been a pretty big game. There's a lot of, like, mid-rangey creature things that we don't necessarily want to be on the other side of. It bounces, like, Okos and Narsets and stuff. So there's a lot of room for building, tuning, whatever you want to call it here. And honestly, that's all I ask for in a deck, right? Like, you just want to give yourself a little bit of room to have extra play if you need it. And if you don't need it, then cool, play the deck as is, it's great. But overall, great times. Once again, shout out to Justin for posting about this in the first place, since I'm not really aware of what happens in Vintage too often, since I don't really play the format too often. But I saw this and I'm glad I did, because it was absolutely fucking sweet. So great times all around. And yeah, give him a shout out. Like I said, I did go ahead and put his name and everything in the video description, so you can check that out. And as always, if you like what you're watching today, make sure to click like on the video. Let me know. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, and I'll see y'all on the next one.